What is up, guys? Welcome into the transparency. Thank you guys for being here, members, moderators, subscribers, lurkers. You're going to have opinion when this is all said and done. Please go ahead and click your thumbs up or your thumbs down. Make yourself known. You're going to have an opinion. Welcome.
Listen, folks, I know there's a history here. I'd like to get this hearing in today. You know, everybody needs to just focus on the relevant facts, okay? I know there's a history here.
Are you talking up by Sunset Mart? Up the hill by the gas station?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you... All right, who's responsible here?
What's that?
Who's responsible here? Whose house is this?
Yeah.
Have been drinking or anything, right?
No.
Okay, drive careful, okay?
Thank you.
This is what the other group had that ran away.
Oh, really? You just ditched it? Awesome.
Yeah, those ones kept walking in the car. And the other one.
It's truly for the win.
That I was given to. So there was 2 different discs. Okay? They all knew about it.
We're not here to talk about the alcohol stuff, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But this is the second noise complaint we've had here tonight within 2 hours.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know why we're here?
I see noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Like brains, and like if you need a lot of brains, you're gonna be
In trouble. All right, guys, this does not need to be like hours upon hours or anything like that. I actually watched the Court TV special, and I want to commend Court TV for, first of all, doing a very, very good job of, number one, presenting both sides. I didn't think that it was overly, Brian Colberg's guilty. And I felt that they brought enough people into their special to balance the broadcast. And that's very, very important. And I always make sure hey, you bring it, you do it. I'm going to let you know about it. And they brought it. And I commend them for it. I commend them for it so, so much. So check this out. From this episode, there was a point at around the 8-minute mark where, and I'm going to show you guys, where Bill Thompson was interviewed, but it was not an interview that took place recently. It was an interview that took place, obviously, during the course of the investigation. And I said to myself, wait a second, I don't think I've ever heard this before. It is customary for mainstream media to have a bunch of film and decide to clip what they want out of it and then use different parts of it at different points and so on and so forth. And so I want you guys to see this because it's going to fucking blow your mind. Here we go. Now, I'm going to show you first Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1 is last night's crime TV, or I'm sorry, court TV true crime special, The Case Against Brian Colberg. This is around the 8-minute mark. Here it is. Take a look.
We also met the prosecuting attorney, Bill Thompson. Any new details?
Nothing that I can share.
How was the crime scene?
I can't talk about it. Everybody's working together. The investigation is still active, absolutely.
How long they're going to stay here at the home?
Don't know, as long as they need to.
I ended up sitting down with Bill Thompson in his office. And
again, commending her. Amazing job. Kudos, girl. You were part of the broadcast, and I'm hoping that you had to do with some of the production, because I felt like if I was going to be involved with something, it's got to be both sides. Okay, we have to replicate what our U.S. Constitution. We all live in the United States of America here, and this is broadcast in America, and you have to bring both sides. And I commend her, because if I was going to be involved in something, as much as you're one way or the other way, you got to bring it, and she brought it. So again, I just want to give props. It's very, very important to give props where props is due.
I remember they had not identified a suspect, and a lot of people were wondering, are they going to solve this?
She says here, I sat down with Bill Thompson, okay?
Are they going to solve this? And it was one of his answers to me that made me think they know a lot more than what they're saying. Would you feel safe having...
So what I did here is I examined what Bill Thompson was wearing in this interview. As you can see, he has a blue shirt on with his vest. He's worn that vest. You'll see him in the blue. But what I want you to pay attention to is that his hair comes over the sides of his glasses, okay? He's got the books behind him. She says that she actually goes into his office to do this interview, which she does. The vest is opened and zipped down. It's laid open on the left and the right side. Number one. Number two, blue, gray. He's got his glasses on. His hair is over the glasses on the sides. And number three, notice that there is no pin up here on the, you could say, the collar once it's open. Okay. So please take a look at that. The things I just pointed out. All right.
having a child living near or on campus?
Okay. She asks a very specific question here. Again, please listen.
Are they going to solve this? And it was one of his answers to me that made me think they know a lot more than what they're saying. Would you feel safe having a child living near or on campus?
I would, but I say that knowing that many people would not. And I'm probably I'm in a different situation because of the information and the knowledge that I have of how the investigation is progressing.
Coming up, weeks go by without an arrest.
Just your mind.
Right there, Bill Thompson says,
Or on campus?
I would, but I say that knowing that many people would not. And I'm probably I'm in a different situation because
Bill Thompson's in a different situation. You may not remember Kaylee's parents. Kaylee's sister came out and said, you have to get your kids out of campus. People were they were murdered in the middle of the night in their homes. They were sleeping. They didn't do anything wrong. There's a crazy person out there, yada, yada, yada. Get everybody off campus. Now, Bill Thompson says, I am in a different class than other people. I have information that none of you guys have. And due to the information that I have and that I possess, I would send my kid to campus, to school, because of the information that I possess. You understand that? At this point in time, he's saying that he has information that none of us have. And because of the information that he has at this point in time, he could send his kids or kid to campus and know that they're going to be okay. Now,
because of the information and the knowledge that I have of how the investigation is progressing.
Coming up, weeks go by without a...
ready. Next up. That was Core TV showing us this interview on their production. What I went to is next up is me to show you. Okay.
Would you say that you guys have a suspect in mind or a person of interest in mind?
To my knowledge, there is no specific person who is a suspect at this point. The investigators have explored a number of people who might have been persons of interest and have essentially cleared each of them through the investigation, and they're still working through that process.
In your experience, this amount of time doesn't necessarily mean a case is going to go cold.
Absolutely not. We've had homicide cases in our county over the years that have taken sometimes years to solve. I hope that this is not one of those.
Would you say that you guys have a suspect in mind or a person of interest in mind?
To my knowledge, there is no specific person who is a suspect at this point. The investigators have explored a number of people who might have been persons of interest and have essentially cleared each of them through the investigation, and they're still.
Okay, now, this date was Bill Thompson in his blue. His hair is over his glasses. He has his vest on. Okay, he has his blue on. His beard's the same. His hair is over. He's in his, now this is Creme 2. So when you're going to do interviews, you allow multiple people to interview you, like, because you give it up to, normally you want to be fair. Okay. So, but the difference here, the only one thing that's different is that Creme 2 put a mic on the, backseat Bill here. They mic'd him up. Okay. That's the only thing. There is no pin. He's in his blue. Okay. Now, oopsies. December 1st, 2022. See that? December 1st, 2022. All right. December 1st, 2022. Now check this out. Okay. This is Creme 2. This is December 1st. Now, this is just when they did this. It does not mean that that's when this happened. Okay. This is when this YouTube broadcast was put out, was December 1st, 2022. Keep that in mind. Now, okay. Now, take a look. Here you have backseat Bill. All right. I'm going to play a little bit of it.
That they had ever seen. Yet somehow there were 2 roommates who were in the house who apparently didn't hear anything. What are the red flags you have there, and are those roommates considered persons of interest?
Well, anybody who might have knowledge is considered persons of interest at this point. As far as suspects, I don't believe so. The investigators continue to work hard trying to interview everyone who might have any information and hopefully figure out and identify what occurred and why and who's responsible.
As we understand the timeline, and we recognize that this is an investigation very much ongoing, the 4 came home, you know, early in the morning, Sunday morning, let's say 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. The 911 call didn't come until midday the next day. Does that raise any red flags for you? How do you explain that?
I think the investigators are trying to ascertain why there was a delay and what actually occurred, what was heard. That's a question that's still out there. And I know they're working on that. We're trying to assist them as much as possible with obtaining search warrants for data and cell records and social media and anything that might help.
Do you know who called 911? Can you reveal who reported this?
I can't reveal who made the 911 call. The police do know who made the 911 call, though.
Obviously, we don't know anything about motive, but the mayor did initially refer to this crime as a crime of passion. Why did he say that?
I can't speak for Mayor Betke. He, to my knowledge, there is nothing to indicate that this has been determined to be a crime of passion. We know it's just a horrible crime, and 4 young lives have been lost.
And finally, you know, initially, investigators and the police had said the community has nothing to worry about. Now they've sort of said, well, of course we should be vigilant because there is a suspect or suspects still at large. What is your message to that community this morning?
Well, I think the fact of the matter is that whoever is responsible for these murders is still at large. The investigators do not know who that person is. From what they've told my office, they believe that this was what they call a targeted attack and not just a random act of violence. And I think they tried to communicate that, but obviously that communication didn't work very well.
Okay, ready? Investigators don't know. Watch.
This what they call a targeted attack and not just a for these murders is still at large.
To that community this morning?
Well, I think the fact of the matter is that whoever is responsible for these murders is still at large. The investigators do not know who that person is. From what they've told my office, they believe that this was...
Okay, the investigators do not know who this person is. This was on, again, not wearing the same thing. He has his vestibula on. Okay, he has his lapel here on. And it's November 17th, okay? November 17th, he does the Today Show. He's wearing his vestibula. He's in his office. He is not wearing the same blue shirt, okay? So this is clearly not the same day, okay? Investigators do not know who, investigators don't know, okay? Hold on now. Now, here we go. Going to the last exhibit 3.
What they call a targeted attack and not just a random act of violence.
Oh.
And I think they tried to communicate that, but obviously...
Sorry, that was not what I was supposed to click. Hold on. My bad. Okay.
I would, but I say that knowing that many people would not. And I'm probably in I'm not probably. I'm in a different situation because of the information and the knowledge that I have of how the investigation is progressing.
Coming up, weeks go by without an arrest.
Just your mind has to spin like, okay, what is going on? You know,
some people can commit crimes, and there is no justice for that family.
What the families in public did.
Okay, so now I wanted you guys to see that one last time. Okay, again, this is from Court TV last night. Do you see what Bill Thompson is wearing? Okay, are you guys ready? Bill Thompson says that he would send his kid to school because of what he knows. He is not like other people. He knows things. And due to the knowledge that he possesses, okay, due to the knowledge that he possesses, he could send his kid to school because why? Well, I know who fucking did this crime. We already got eyes on this motherfucker, right? Now the question is when was this episode? When was this episode? Right? Have you guys ever seen this part of this interview? Now, if you follow Twitter, okay, and you follow the Chanley who did this episode, this special, if you followed her Twitter, all right, you would have to go all the way back to none other than November 20 motherfucking 9th, when she sits with Bill Thompson in his office and has this conversation. This conversation on November 29th is the same day that they moved all the vehicles from the house to a remote location. It's the same day that at 12:23 a.m. So technically not November 28th, but November 29th, okay? Because it was 12:23. They found Brian Colberger's car, right? And it's like, how did you find Brian Colberger's car, right? It's just, no. It's, we just were going through this blah, 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 and we just found it because of blah, 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 blah. Motherfucking no, you didn't. Boom! Y'all found his car because y'all already knew it was Brian Colberger because of the fucking IGG. And so I could put, like I said, the IG motherfucking G before you found his car. Boom. Take it on home, Ann Taylor. I just helped you out like you wouldn't believe. Right there, Bill Thompson wearing that outfit. Chanley doing the interview on November 29th. Nobody knew about a damn thing. Except for the fucking prosecutor, okay, who was so active in this investigation that he came out here and he said, I would send my kid to school. Why? Because I possess information that none of you guys have. And what's that, Bill? You knew it was Brian Colberger on November 29th, didn't you? That's how you put shit together. Boom! Mike, drop that shit. Run it back 5 times. You saw it here first. Court TV, I cannot thank you enough. Chanley, have me on. Let's get this party fucking jumping, all right? Because they didn't fucking follow Brian Colberger because they found a list of all these freaking cars and were scooting around like, you know, I don't know, Inspector Gadgets. No. He would send his kid to school because why? Not because you find somebody's random car. We didn't even know. Y'all are liars. Y'all are liars. But you know what? If Court TV doesn't do this broadcast, I don't get to see this little clip. And I said, wow, they came out with this little clip because Olivia Gonsalves is saying, leave. You people leave. Leave. And then Bill Thompson says, I would send my kid. And it's because I know. And then I said, wait, what? Wait, what? What do you know, Bill? What do you know? When was this interview? Well, I had to break it on down because this guy likes to wear the same damn motherfucking clothes. Then I had to pay attention to his haircut. Then I had to pay attention to the office. Then I had to pay attention to his little button snap. Then I had to pay attention to every little detail. And here you heard it and you saw it first. Bill Thompson does an interview, and Chanley asked an amazing question, which is, would you send your kid to school? And he said, yes. Why? Because I'm in the minority. I know I possess the information that I know my kids, because we have all eyes on this dude. He ain't harming anybody else. We are already on him. That means they are on him November 29th, y'all. Which means before they were, doing any of this, we're going to take this camera, this camera, this camera. So what came first? Well, y'all made this all fit. This case is going to be lit as a tit. I will be there. Okay, I will be there. I will be in this courtroom. All right, I will be in this courtroom. I want to work with the best people. And you know who I want to work with? I want to work with, what's her tits from LA? I want to work with Sarah. Sarah, you nailed it in this episode. I was just like, who is this bomb ass B? Right here. She freaking brought it. Okay. Right here.
Moscow police responded to annoy.
Boom. Where is it? When she was like, the
murders because he turned it off.
We've been saying it was off. His phone was off. We don't know if it was off.
Yeah, girl.
It could have been off. It could have been in airplane mode, or it could have just simply not picked up signal during that time. What's odd, of course, and what's problematic for the defense is that his phone did pick up signal before the murders and after the murders.
Another significant coincidence, for those who believe in coincidences, I don't, is that there's this white car that's driving around and around at the time of the murders, close to the scene of the murders, caught on video. And guess what? The defendant, the suspect, the accused, what does he drive? A white Elantra.
The car's driving around, but then suddenly during the window of the murders, we don't know where this car was. We don't know where it was parked. We just know nothing about the car. Identification of the Hyundai Elantra as like the suspect vehicle, that's a problem.
Another part of the case against Brian Kohberger is an eyewitness account. Dylan Mortensen, one of the surviving roommates, she told police that she saw a man around the time of the murders dressed in black, bushy eyebrows, wearing a mask covering his nose and his mouth that walked past her down the hallway.
And then we have Dylan, the surviving roommate, and she's so afraid that she goes back in her bedroom alone.
Listen to this.
In the kitchen area, dressed in shorts.
Right here.
Processing.
According to a Monroe County, Pennsylvania prosecutor, when SWAT arrived at the family home of Brian Kohberger, they found him standing in his parents' kitchen at 1:30 in the morning.
Kohberger was found awake in the kitchen area, dressed in shorts and a shirt and wearing latex medical type gloves, and apparently was taking his personal trash and putting it into a separate Ziploc.
To continue on with their fucking narrative. This is sick, dude. This is so sick that they had to continue on with this narrative, that they had to pass it on. And he says, allegedly, like, nobody's coming forward as saying, I was the one that saw Brian Kohberger doing this when I arrested him. Who has come forward to say it? Let me see some body cams. But you can't produce it because there were no body cams. Y'all didn't wear no body cams. There are no body cams. And this guy right here, he is saying, listen to his words. He can't say who told him this. Allegedly. Well, then where are you getting this from? Which one of your officers wrote this in their report when they broke down the door, okay, and they were standing over Brian Kohberger? And this is Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania, in my opinion, is corrupt as fuck when you're talking about PSP, and that's who was involved.
Baggies.
The DNA found on the knife sheath under Madison Mogen's body was the piece of the puzzle investigators needed. 3 days before Colberger's arrest, detectives used trash from Colberger's parents' home for a DNA sample that turned out to be a match to the suspected killer's father.
Imagine what happens when you're finally able to get the results of the DNA sample that you pull from the father. You can just hear the champagne popping. This is a quad murder. That has to be elation in that squad room. In that
Note to self, Jack Rice, I would never have him represent me.
war room, when they're sitting together and they're looking at each other and going, we got this guy. We've got this guy.
After Brian Colberger was taken into custody in Pennsylvania, he met with an attorney who said publicly that Colberger told him he believed that he would be exonerated.
He is very intelligent. In my hour conversation with him, that comes off. I can tell that. And he understands where we are right now.
Hey, Brian. How you feeling?
How you feeling, Brian?
Even though Brian Colberger wasn't fighting extradition, he still had to appear in a Pennsylvania courtroom. I was inside of that courtroom when he walked in, and everyone was able to.
He has the assumption.
Right here. This is why, Sarah, we're going to do a podcast. We're going to do an episode because right here, you bring it.
This guy does not have a presumption of innocence. He has the assumption of guilt. I'm Sarah Azari. I'm a criminal trial attorney in Los Angeles.
To go, and a lot of people think that this case isn't a slam dunk.
It's absolutely disgusting. This guy does not have a presumption of innocence. He has the assumption of guilt.
Crazy.
I'm Sarah Azari. I'm a criminal trial attorney in Los Angeles. I'm currently a legal analyst for News Nation, and I am the host of the Presumption podcast. You know, pretrial convictions of high-profile defendants in high-profile cases is nothing new, but Colberger is a whole other level. And I think not only we found him guilty of slaying the 4 Idaho students, but we've decided that he's going to get the death penalty.
The most significant piece of evidence for prosecutors is the DNA of the defendant found on the knife sheath of the alleged murder weapon located underneath victim Madison Mogen's body.
We don't know when and how this DNA got there. So if Brian Colberger is person A and he touches this knife sheath, and then somehow this knife sheath is picked up by somebody else. I mean, he could touch it, he could handle it, it could be anything. And then that person then somehow is in this Kings Road home. That is a perfect explanation of how Colberger's DNA was on that knife sheath. Is insufficient to place him in that home, let alone to place the murder weapon in his hands. That's why I'm not at all worried about the DNA.
And that's why she's on my street.
I'm Tiffany Roy, and I'm a forensic DNA expert. I work privately in the area of forensic DNA and forensic biology. I've been doing this work for 17 years. DNA can be transferred onto items that people have never contacted and never touched. That can be found in rooms where people have never set foot. He may never have touched that sheath, and his DNA could have been transferred there by some contact with another item or another person. We can't tell how it got there. We can't tell when it got there.
Or it could be there because he committed this quadruple murder and took the lives of these 4 students. And maybe when he was closing the snap, his thumb touched it before he even showed up at the murder scene. And maybe that
night he was wearing gloves. Oh, Vinny, I love you. All right, guys, that's all you need to see here. Again, the bombshell. I will reveal it one more time here. It is in this special that they did right here. Bill Thompson is asked a very, very important question while wearing this outfit.
Not. And I'm probably I'm in a different situation because of the information and the knowledge that I have of how the investigation is progressing.
Coming up.
And how is that progressing, Bill? Well, guess what? He said he would send his kid to the school because of the information that he possessed based on the investigation. And that was on November 29th, the same day that they magically found Brian Colberger's vehicle. The same day that they moved all the roommates' vehicles to a secure location. And what? He already knew. He already had the IgG matched up. And that tells me, like I said it, when you heard it here first. This is proof. What he was wearing, go check out. That interview was not done recently, obviously. That interview was done on none other than November 29th. And it could possibly have been done earlier, meaning the 28th. And if you guys go and check it out, this is when it erupted. This is what erupted the divide between we're not telling the families anything anymore, okay? Once December 1st came, we weren't telling the families anything anymore. You know why? Because boom. But more importantly, the police, they had to do multiple media press releases because they had to cover for Bill Thompson allegedly saying something he shouldn't have said. Bill Thompson is the fucking backseat Bill prosecutor, and he was just blabbing here to good old Chanley, and I'm over here just like, holy shit, when was this interview? Billy Badass, he knows exactly who Brian Colberger is because he would send his kid to school, meaning that they have eyes on Brian Colberger, meaning that they've matched up the IgG already, which would put it before November motherfucking 29th. Period. Because you wouldn't send your kid to the school unless you knew that. Period. Billy boy, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate Court TV for this product. I appreciate all of you guys that were here in chat. You either love this episode or you hated it. Take one of your thumbs, hit a thumb, share this episode because this is the real deal. I believe I'm the real deal. And all of you guys here in chat, night in and night out, you guys are just as much the real deal. Because I show up for you guys, because otherwise I'd be talking to myself. Thank you guys very, very much. Appreciate you. Much love. And that's what you call Land of Brains.
Having a party. Having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Like brains, and like if you need a lot of brains, you're gonna be in trouble.
November 29th, 4 people that were murdered, and you want to fuck around. You got 8 families that are being affected by this, and they just need nobody from the university.
Shock value. And so what he did was he had taken pictures of California.
Oh, you're from I would be outraged if I live in Moscow right now. I'd be lighting some cars on fire out there. I'd be flipping some cars. I'd get the frats going wild with me. Let's get some noise complaints going.